And I only had to tell the courts that all law enforcement has done from the year 2001 is run sex games with Uncle Joey's in-laws and money fraud that's been going on for years and years. Money that was stolen and defrauded from innocent Americans from unemployment disability fraud, and the wire transfer to law enforcement's friends after law enforcement would turn a blind eye to all this fraud, and law enforcement would arrange account numbers, phone numbers, everything needed for these wire transfer to take place after meeting with these individuals, after law enforcement had been doing nothing but running sex games with people like Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001. When I told the courts about this after 2023, it was the exact same time that the courts found out that every single thing that law enforcement said about me in the end of 2023 was also a lie. There was no wedding incident that I was involved in. There was no wedding I was present in. There was no place I was present in where anyone would share any secrets with me. My mother worked at fast food restaurants and no one really invited us over to their house in the first place. There was no secret sharing with us. Excuse me. And so the first set of relatives, being law enforcement, were now kicked out of court. Law enforcement said the court case is still going to go on. We've got a new set of narrators. It's not going to be law enforcement anymore. It's going to be a new set of relatives. We understand law enforcement's been guilty, but we have a new set of narrators. My dad, the greedy framers, were found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt to lie over and over again. They lied November 20th, creating mass panic and chaos, forcing people like Governor Josh Green on November 27th to put aside the vaccine issue at the time, only to say confusion is the enemy. We have to remove the confusion over here. It wasn't the confusion around vaccines. It was the confusion around the magnitude of the false testimony made against me by my dad, the greedy Framer sisters, and whether it was truthful or not. They've lied over and over again. They lied again early March 2026, only to find out that the government informant was the person handling the fabrication material. And now they went and agreed to try to get me to commit incest over and over again. March 7th, sending me porn star's picture named Sunny Leon with Sapphire the Greedy Framer's name on it 3 times. Tried to get me to marry the spokesperson's mother's daughter 3 times, March 9th, 2026. Tried to get me to marry Fire the Greedy Framer's daughter 3 times, March 9th, 2026. Tried to get me to commit incest with his disgusting, ugly, big, fat, ugly sister named Afreen every single day on March 10th, every day afterwards. Tried to get me to sleep with his ugly, disgusting looking wife, my dad's greedy, ugly, disgusting looking wife, March 12th, 2026. Why? Because they went from envy to greed, realizing that this was a second set of lies that were caught, because it was already confessed to the government informant as being a complete and total lie. Now you have the third set of lies that my dad, the greedy framer, pushed forward very aggressively, only for these lies to get caught as well, through phone conversations being retrieved. These were the first set of relatives. These were the second set of narrators. First set of narrators was law enforcement, found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Second set of narrators, my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters, only involved for extreme envy of locking up my brain savant, or extreme greed that was shown after February 17th, 3:02 a.m. Before February 17th, they never admitted to even knowing about my brain savant and would make jokes about it, saying that they didn't even believe in it. After February 17th, they were all about money. $60 million price tag being sent from spokesperson's mother's house at least 9 times, only one of them. My dad, the greedy framer, asking me for an 8.9 million euro mansion 19 times on the morning of February 19th, asking me disgustingly, very irritating request of a $25 million Rolls Royce, something that cost $500,000, just to harass me and make me feel like they're going to take my money after my brain savant would get freed. These people were all about money, and they were all about extreme envy, and that was all there was to it. Before February 17th, 3:02 a.m., they never even revealed to the courts that they even knew about my brain savant. In fact, they would act like they didn't think it had any monetary potential. After February 17th, 3:02 a.m., they're told, in a state of panic they go into after they're told that my brain savant getting freed is inevitable, to which they compile a list of things that they wanted, millions of dollars, out of which I would not give anyone a single penny of. And now the third set of relatives were Assad and the relatives from Michigan. These were fraudsters and guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of being guilty in every single thing possible and involved in it, only because the sheriff was the land of the law and he could decide who was guilty and who was innocent, which is not how it's supposed to be in this country. Assad and his family could be involved in every single crime, including whatever happened at any wedding out there, and they would get away with it. And I would be framed for it despite me not having anything to do with it, only because I have an extremely rare brain savant that law enforcement told everyone that artificial intelligence has said has the highest monetary potential in the world right now. These were the third set of relatives. First set, law enforcement found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, involved in everything possible that I could not be involved in. Second set of relatives, my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters, lying over and over again out of extreme envy to make sure that they could lock up my brain savants, so that my mother could not get any of the money that he could not get and his framer sisters could not get. Third set of narrators, Assad and the relatives from Michigan, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, involved in every single thing considered bad possible I could not be involved in. All I've done in my life is work hard, help my poor mother out. Before law enforcement brings in a fourth set of relatives as narrators, or anyone as narrators, the courts have to understand the fact that there have already been three sets of narrators. They were all guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, only doing this out of extreme greed and envy, and they were only given their talking points by law enforcement because law enforcement could not use these talking points themselves. All law enforcement's done since day one, since 2001, is run sex schemes and money fraud the entire time. And now law enforcement wants to use these talking points and give it to someone else to use it. After all their false testimonies claiming that I had committed a crime have all been found to be completely false. And after the entire year of 2025, we found out that I've done nothing bad my entire life. Law enforcement wishes to give their talking points to someone else. And all I'd like to say about that is it's extremely unfair that these would be a fourth set of narrators being brought forward in a trial where three have been found to be guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So law enforcement is going to try to bring in a fourth set of envious narrators, which is extremely wrong. Consider the fact that I've done absolutely nothing wrong. And in case law enforcement wishes to say that anyone said anything bad around me, ever in my life, then law enforcement has to first prove that they're not running sex schemes and money fraud with this individual before they give this talking point to another person. That's my only request. That's the only thing I ask for. Thank you.